the SPS system, the phytosanitary system in India is another thing which bothers the US. They want us to actually, comply to their requirements. Just to add to
but Mr. I understand where you're coming from. I'm also joined by my deputy editor business. Shweta, do you think it's only about tariffs? Isn't this about Trump's overinflated ego? Maybe he expected a phone call post Operation Sindoor. Shweta, isn't this
Karthikeya, lots of speculations.
Isn't this issue tariff plus now?
Yes, absolutely, and you're right, because lots of speculations, lot of analysts trying to understand what made Donald Trump sudden adversary of India, and it couldn't have been the so-called friendship between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, because that friendship was flourishing for the longest time, and we saw both of them hugging each other multiple occasions, the pictures of which are on our screens. But right now it's Putin, but we've seen that happening with Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi as well. So what went wrong in the course of last 2 to 3 months for Donald Trump to take such a contrary position of India? And I think it all boils down to what happened post Operation Sindoor. I think India denied him an opportunity to win a Nobel Peace Prize by dismissing his involvement in trying to negotiate peace between India and Pakistan. So that perhaps could have irked him. What also perhaps irked him, it was right before the US presidential election, Prime Minister Modi did not meet Donald Trump because Prime Minister Modi did not want to be seen partisan. So perhaps all of that culminated into what we are seeing and looking at happening in the past couple of weeks. But I think, going back to agri, I think it's important to note how important agriculture is. Just to give you a figure. Now, agriculture contributes 16% to India's 4 trillion economy, but feeds nearly half of our population. So that's how important it is. And come to think of it, US agriculture is nearly business. All of it is business. The average farmland with an Indian farmer is less than 3 acres. For an American farmer, it's about 400 acres. So look at the land holding pattern. Look at the trade deficit, which is in all trade merchandise, but not in agriculture.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. You stay with me. I'm also joined by Dr. S.K. Malhotra, former Agriculture Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Malhotra, for joining me. Dr. Malhotra, thank you so much. Dr. Malhotra, my question is straight and simple. Why is agriculture so important to us? Please decode it. People need to understand. This is not an India of 60s. And the word used by Ambassador Vora was, Kisan hamare annadata hain. So can you decode it for our viewers? Why do we need to protect our farmers? Why did Prime Minister Modi said कि मैं उनके हितों की पूरी रक्षा करूंगा?
Yeah, you are right. Correct. Because his statement was that we have to safeguard the interest of my farmers. His statement was like this. So why this is important? I would like to mention that agriculture is a very important sector which is giving employment to 46% of our population. And then again, there are many commodities, agriculture commodities, where we are dependent on few other countries. Though we are self-sufficient for food grains production, we are producing we are self-sufficient in production of the food, particularly for food grains, and then we have near self-sufficiency for pulses. But in 1 or 2 cases like lentil, we have to import sometimes from US also, from Australia also. And similarly, there are some nuts and some quantity of apple also. We have to sometimes import from America. But in this case, it is not going to matter. It is not going to harm us. So because for food grains, we are self-sufficient, and even we are exporting to many other countries. So here we are producing about 367 million ton of fruits and vegetables. We are self-sufficient for this one. We need not to worry. And we are even importing in some cases. We are exporting in some cases. Similarly, for food grains, we are producing 353 million tons of the food grains. So we are self-sufficient. Major staple foods are wheat and rice. So rice we export to many countries to the tune of about 8 million tons every year. Similarly, wheat 2 to 4 million tons every year we export to other countries. But here few commodities, just like apple we produce 25 million tons. So 2 to 4 million ton. Sometimes we import from America and some other countries also. So apple, again, some specialty types of apples are we are importing. So here we need not to worry, because that is now again that is being demanded by elite class. They are asking for the specialty kind of apples. But now country is coming up with its own capacity to produce such kind of apple varieties, Gala,
Okay.
Fuji. There are so many other varieties also.
Okay.
We have introduced in the country. It is not going to harm us. We have to safeguard the interest of farmers. If we will allow, even it is going to help us, help our Indian farmers for apple. So our Indian farmer will get more price if we stop the import from America or some other countries.
Okay, thank
so
you.
it is not going to harm us.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is one more remark, Ambassador Vora, I want you here. This is from the Global Times. I know I'm very quickly shifting the gears because the news is shifting so much. The pace is so much today. It said that the Prime Minister Modi's visit to China for the SCO summit has got worldwide attention, and that it is time, quote unquote, sir, India and China to explore and yet another round of engagement. Another round of engagement. Decoded.
Which fellow has said this, sir? Which paper?
Global Times did a readout on the Prime Minister's Modi.
Chinese Communist Party thing.
So it said India and
Sorry.
China are to explore yet another round of engagement. And they said, you know, we have series of engagement, but I think time for another round of engagement has come.
If you give me the Mandarin version, I might understand. The English version is not very clear. If he's talking about disengagement in the Galwan thing, well, perhaps, you know, we've gone into de-induction, disengagement, pulling back our troops and so on. But if he's talking about a fresh round of engagement, look at the sectors where we can cooperate. Sir, let me put it to you very bluntly. I've been in diplomacy 52 years and counting. All this nonsense about India, Russia, China, triangle, emerging triangle, for what? The Russians don't look like the Indians don't look like the Chinese don't look like the Russians. The ethnicities are totally different. We're not going to be combining our militaries to fight the Americans. We're not going to be dovetailing our economies one into the other. But there are areas of cooperation where we can build. From Russia, there is certain technology, defense equipment, oil, and so. Oh, by the way, you are aware that India is the of India's overseas investments in the oil sector, the largest is in Russia. We have invested very heavily in Russia's oil sector. This Donald Trump should be told that if we are getting oil from them, a lot of it is our investment oil, the return we are getting on our investment.
Donald Trump.
Shri Donald Trump, yeah, I mean, McDonald Trump, all right. Okay. Donald Trump, whatever you want to call him. You let him know about this. So my own feelings are the Chinese are very happy. They want to poke America. They want to poke the eagle in the eye. Say, acha tiger, tu kar le jo karna hai. Now I'm getting friendly with Russia. I'm getting friendly with India. With Russia, of course, it's a marriage of inconvenience.
But then, Ambassador Vora, what's your largest? Okay, on the serious note, what's the big picture emerging, sir? On the larger note, what's the big picture emerging, sir?
I think the big picture is very clear to me that Donald Trump has managed single-handedly to offend out of the top 4 countries in the world. He's offended the other 3. All right, the United States is the biggest. We love you guys. You're very good. You are number 1, etc. Number 2 is Bharat. Number 3 is Russia. Number 4 is China. You've picked up a fight with all of them, and plus with Lula of Brazil, and plus with this fellow and that fellow, with Vanuatu and with Papua New Guinea. How are you going to manage? Your MAGA has become which is make America alone again. That's what you are heading. You are damaging America. Sir, I'm not being facetious. I have a good group of people, senators, Congress, academics. One of them has tweeted that America's biggest enemy is a fellow called McDonald Trump. You decode that the way.
Okay, Mr. Shenoy, in context of both politics and business, how do you see this picture emerging? Do you think that in the 20 days, will there be some sort of a reconciliation, a middle ground, sir?
Read the tea leaves as they come out. And you know what happened is, even before the first announcement was made by Trump, when the negotiating team came back from the US, the government, the ministry actually asked all the ministries to look at what more they could do to actually, in what specific things that they could do in the context of the US and India situation. So I think the strategy here is to see, okay, we were discussing X number of items, are there the Y number of other items that we can actually look at it and go forward. The other thing both sides will need to do in India, and especially if I take the agriculture sector or take some of the manufacturing sectors and take sensitive things like government procurement, etc., which were there, we'll have to see what can be done in the short, medium, and long term and come up with the strategy. But we also have asked, right? We have asked, including our own agricultural products. I mean, your viewers may not know, but India's exports to mango exports to US happened because we allowed Harley Davidson some concessions in India at that point of time. But we need to actually think of more innovative measures like this to be able to deal. And as Ambassador Vora said, whether McDonald's and dollars are both business things. So if we can appeal to the business side of President Trump coming up there and being very hard negotiators, then we can be that. And I think the first step is that we have not. There might have been a belief in the other system that a lot of people in India would be anti the government. But everybody has rallied behind the government. The people have rallied behind, even the opposition has rallied behind the government. So it's an all of India approach here going forward. And I think if we take that and then identify specific things and take a specific negotiated strategy and possibly say, okay, this is what we'll do in the short and medium term and look at other things going forward.
Shweta, what's the biggest sticking point? Very quickly, I need to wrap up the show. What's the biggest sticking point?
The biggest thinking point, as I'm hearing Ambassador Vora and Dilip Chinoy, is that while all the nationalism and the talks about rallying behind the country is great, what about the economic ramification? Because that hurts your pockets, our pockets, everybody's pockets. Suggestions are that if 50% tariff were to go ahead, India is going to lose about 1 percentage point from its GDP. So less than 6.4% could be about 5.4%. And that in turn means there'll be job losses, that India will have to find some other alternate location and supply chains to send out some of its volumes, which will not be able to sell to the US anymore. So I think my biggest takeaway from this is if that 50% tariff and Trump were to make good on it, then we are looking at some sort of long-term ramifications and we'll have to prepare for it now.
Lotsa, my last question to you. Do you think that we will be able to reconcile the interests of the farmers if there is some sort of a barter? Because the sort of intrusions that the Americas demand in our market is in the most vulnerable sector, if I may say so.
Yeah. Okay, this question to me. Well,
yes.
So here I would like to mention one point, because US has not only been demanding low tariffs on certain farm products such as corn, soybean, almonds, and ethanol also I would like to mention. But also they are pitching for allowing entry of the genetically modified produce like maize, soya, canola and cotton in the Indian market. But we are not allowing because our situation doesn't demand like this, and we are not even allowing for genetically modified. So we have been resisting since long. So we are at a very comfortable position when we speak about the agriculture. So they are asking us for maize, that maize genetically modified should be introduced in India, but we have denied. And then again they have asked us for soya also. Then again they are after us that India should allow soya oil. But anyway, soya oil we are allowing because there is a shortage of the edible oils. So these are the commodities where we are at a very comfortable position, and even there are several other alternatives which are available with us for oilseed crops. Otherwise, for food grains and others, we are self-sufficient. We are at a very comfortable position.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all of you. I think the big line here is the entire country rallies behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and with the phone call today, the conversation and the put out by the Prime Minister's office is very, very clear that India understands that this is not about tariff. This is more than tariff. They need to draw the line. It's about our strategic autonomy. So this is all I have on the on point one. But don't go away. There's another on point, and that on point is Mamta says no to SIR. Why? After a short break.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर डायना प्रीमियम ब्यूटी सोप, पहली झलक करे खूबसूरत।
पंखा